Well, I am about to do my very first tech review of this watch. What watch is it, you ask? Well, I'm going to tell you in a second, and I'll tell you why I like it so much. Hey everyone, I'm going to talk about this watch. This is the Coros Pace 2 GPS watch, and I love it, and there are many reasons why I love it, and I'm going to list some of them. This will not be an in-depth review. You can go online and find 20-minute videos on everything that this watch does and why it's so good, but I'll just tell you, practically speaking, why I love it so much. So I've had 3 watches in 20 plus years of triathlon racing, which is not a lot. Actually 4 if you count the very first one, which was a Timex Ironman. $25 watch. It basically just told the time, and you had a lap counter on there and a stopwatch. That's all it did. Worked for the first year of my running career. Then my second watch was a Polar, I think it was an 610S or an S610 or something like that. Not GPS, but fantastic at pace and heart rate. And I used that for many years. And then the fancy GPS watches came out, and I was actually given a Garmin Forerunner 405. Absolutely loved that watch. So I used it for all of my training and racing, Ironman. I just love the fact that I could track my location on the GPS. Wasn't really good at open water swimming. Actually, it wasn't good at all for open water swimming. It was okay for lap swimming, for pool swimming, but I mean, you had to do everything manually, so it wasn't really meant for that. But for many years, I used the Garmin 405. And then the Garmin started dying. I replaced the battery, gave it another 2 years of life. But it started taking so long to acquire satellites. Actually, it was always bad at acquiring satellites. And I just needed a new watch that could keep up with the times. So I looked at them all, and this Coros Pace 2 is insanely awesome, especially when you consider its price. So back in the day when I got the Polar, for a non-GPS watch back in the 90s, I paid $200, $250 for a top-end watch. And then the Forerunner came out, that was $450. And now these days you can buy, Phoenixes and other top-end watches for more than $1,000 Canadian. And the reality is, most of those features you'll never use. Like, quite honestly, most of the features are interesting, but I mean, to pay $1,000 for a watch, you better love the features that you're getting. Here's why the Coros Pace 2 is so unbelievably awesome. It does everything that my old Polar and Garmin 405 did. Very accurate heart rate, GPS. You get your run splits, you get your distance and paces, all the basic stuff that 80% of triathletes, that's all they need in their watch. But you get all that high-end stuff that the Phoenixes and other high-end watches do at the price of those older watches. This cost me just over $200. $200 for a watch that pretty much does most of what those high-end watches do, minus a few features here and there. So why wouldn't you get a watch that does everything you need it to do and so much more without paying for the so much more? So that's why I got this watch, and it has not let me down. First of all, it is the lightest watch I've ever owned in my entire life. And I've got the silicone strap. If you buy the nylon strap, this thing is even half this weight. It's thin. If you've got small wrists like mine, it's perfect. A small wristed guy or girl doesn't look massive. The bigger watches look like like stopwatches on my wrist. Not so good. So it's for, I would say, like a medium to small wrist. light as heck. I mean, you wouldn't even know you're wearing it. That's how light this thing is. Really thin. Fantastic battery life. It does everything you need it to do. Heart rate, pace, GPS, and some swim stuff that I was never really didn't have access to. So count your swim strokes, gives you you know, swim efficiency scores like SWALF. Does running cadence, built-in running power. So there's some native running power to this watch, but where it really shines if you want to use running power is you put a foot pod on, and it's native for Stride foot pods, and there's no end of running analytics that you can do if you're into that sort of thing. But if you're not, it's fine. You get running power kind of virtually calculated off the watch anyway. And it goes on and on and on. I mean, there's so many more features to this watch that I'll just never use. But the thing with a $200 watch that has all those features, if you love them, if you need them, if you like them, if you want to use them, then maybe a couple of years down the line you can buy one of those $800,000 watches that does all the stuff that you want it to do, maybe better than this one. I don't know. But bottom line is, I don't think that you can find a watch for $230 that does everything that this watch can do. It's just absolutely incredible. So that's my tech review. If you're looking for a GPS watch, Coros Pace 2, look it up online, check it out, stack it up to the other watches. And if you're looking to save you know, a few $100s, you really seriously think about this thing. So that's it. You guys and gals enjoy your training, enjoying the rest of your weekend if you happen to be watching this on the weekend, and I will talk to you soon.